What's up, guys? Welcome back to Riffing with Clintus, the podcast that just won't die. No matter how long I try to make it spread these out, it just keeps coming back for more. No, actually, there's been quite a few requests to bring the podcast, keep the podcast going. When's the next podcast episode? As I said in the vlog and stream recently, the podcast is always number 3, right? So vlog is number 1, focusing on the YouTube channel and vlogs. Trying to keep the Twitch channel going, keeping streams going whenever I can squeeze those in. So really the podcast just comes down to when I have a good chunk of time to sit down and record. And today we are joined with a special guest. It is Labor Day, the day we're recording this podcast. And so no school, no work, all that good stuff. And Sierra is here for a special episode. I was saying I was going to record the podcast and she said, well, we could do a podcast together. And I was like, we can do that. We have the setup. We have the means. And so, without further ado, welcome, Sierra. It's been, I don't even know the last time. I don't know how long ago it's been. You've only been on the podcast one time. I should have looked that up.
I feel like in like 2 houses ago, we did.
Yeah. Well, that's when I started the podcast.
Blue wall.
The blue wall. Yeah.
A green screen room.
Yeah, exactly. But now, if those of you who have not been keeping up with the vlogs, maybe just a podcast listener, Sierra is a junior at ASU. She's starting off at ASU as a junior. She did 2 years at Estrella Mountain Community College, where she graduated with her associate's degree in
elementary education.
That's the official degree. And now she's off to get her bachelor's degree in
elementary education.
So she's continuing that pattern there. So figured we just kind of, I really just want to break it down, the thought process, your decision to go to community college first, then to a university, because you had the opportunity to stay at the community college for all 4 years, did you not?
Apparently, from what I was told. I never really looked too much into it to know for sure how that works. But yeah, I was told that they started, I think, this upcoming school year to be able to do bachelor's degrees for certain degrees, and mine was one of them, like education, business, like a very few select ones that they could do 4-year programs for. So I think it could have been an option. Gotcha.
Okay, well then let's start with it. Why Estrella Mountain?
Okay, so my entire senior year, well, in high school, I think I would say my junior year of high school, up until that point, I think I wanted to still play volleyball in college. That was my goal. But I had no idea what I wanted to go to college for. Like, I was still not decided. I was still like confused on like what I'd want to do for college. I just knew I wanted to play volleyball in college, and I was like, oh, I'll just let volleyball take me. Whatever school wants me, I'll take it, and then I'll figure it out later. That was kind of my mindset most of junior year, until junior year was honestly my worst volleyball season, I think, for both school and club. So it kind of killed the vibe of, I don't think I want to play in college anymore. I think I will continue my senior year, but I don't really want to play in college. I think I'll be done after high school. So that kind of changed that of like, I'm not going to let volleyball take me. But I knew I wanted to go to college. Like I said, the whole time I was like, even my senior year, like I know I want a college degree, but I didn't know what I wanted it in. And then I think end of my senior year was April. So very last minute, I went on a field trip to Estrella Mountain Community College. It was like a last minute thing. I signed up and I was like, oh, I guess I should probably go there. Like, I know a lot of people that go there, especially if they don't know what they want to do yet or like whatever. So I went on the field trip, and they gave us a tour and showed us all the things and like what degrees you could do and all that. And I was like, I really like it here. I think I could definitely do this, especially because I don't really have an idea what I want to do, or like I don't have a place I want to go, like a state I want to move to, or a certain dream college. I just didn't have that yet. So I was like, this will get me started. I'm starting college, but like I don't have to leave home yet. I can stay at home. So that's when I decided to go there. And then I don't know what really made the realization of education. I just know that my entire life I've always said I wanted to be a teacher, for whatever the reasons were. Like I think I literally, as long as I can remember, since like kindergarten, I wanted to be a teacher. And whatever, if it was some silly reason back when I was like 5 or 6, but like I just always liked school. I always looked forward to school. I was kind of a teacher's pet for sure. So it was always something I thought of, but then it kind of went away from me, and I kind of forgot that it's a real thing you can actually do. So then I think at some point, like I said, after that field trip, around that time, I kind of made that realization, like, no, education's like a real thing. Like I can actually be a teacher. I was like, I think I would be really good at it. I think I'd really enjoy it. I've always loved kids. I've always loved school. And so I think I made that decision. Like there was nothing else that like I really, really wanted to do that was like, I was excited about. Like there's a few things here and there, But I eventually made the decision of like, no, like I could be an elementary teacher. That's what I want to do. I've always wanted to do that. So I
Even
made
when
that decision.
you and Bryce played school a lot, like you have
I made him
the
play school.
yeah
He didn't like it.
you had the
I was always the
whiteboard.
teacher and he was always the student.
Yeah, you had the whiteboard out, and you your easel, your art easel, and
Yes, it was always in his room too.
yep. Well, he had
We set up the school setup in his room, and I made him play with me, and he hated it because
you did
we'd
little
come home
chair
from
and
school.
tables, and you make him sit down like he was in a classroom, and
Yeah,
you're the
I had to give
teacher.
him homework and assignments to do, and he thought it was the dumbest thing ever because he's like, I just got back from school. I don't want to do more school.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, I think it was a clear sign that I clearly always enjoyed school a little too much. I always got really excited for back to school shopping and all the supplies. So yeah, it just kind of became a thing where I made that realization of like, no, I can actually do that. Like that's a real career, of course. Like, you know, I could be a teacher. So I made that decision. I chose that as my degree plan. And I went with it. And then I don't know, we kind of met with my advisor pretty late too. Like the school semester, you know, starts in August, and we went like late July, I think, to pick classes. So it was kind of a last minute thing, but it all worked out, of course.
Yeah, and also because of your GPA, you were able to get a scholarship.
Yes.
And
that was a big thing too.
That kind of helped. It was, in my opinion, as a dad, as a parent, my thought process was school being paid for, you being able to stay at home and make the commute because it's in the West Valley. We live in the West Valley, so it made life easier there. You weren't forced to either drive an hour to school or move out and incur additional costs. Mm-hmm. So a lot of positives there.
Yeah, that scholarship, I think, that's what it was. I learned about that scholarship on that field trip. And I think that was another thing that was like, oh, this could be really good. And also you can only use this scholarship right out of high school. So it's like, it's perfect. Like it's almost like a jump to do it. It's called the Presidential Honors Scholarship. And it's for people who are freshly graduated from high school and you're planning to go straight to college, like semester, no gap year, no gap semester. Like it's if you're going straight after high school. And it's, I think I had to have 3.75 GPA in high school or higher.
Sounds
and then I had
right.
to maintain that. I had to maintain that in college as well. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that was one of the requirements. And then as part of the scholarship, every semester, there was some extra, I had to take an honors class every semester. And part of that honors class was like an embedded honors project that I had to do. And then also on top of that, I had to do twice a semester, what do they call them? Co-curricular activities, basically right. Something that's outside of school, something that you're not already required to do for school. It could be a school-related event, like you go to campus to attend, you know, a public speaker or one of the like theater shows or literally anything, like anything on campus or off campus. And you basically had to write like a 600-word paper about your experience and like what you did or what you learned from it. And I had to do that twice a semester, every semester. So it was a lot of requirements that definitely kept it, but it was paid for tuition pretty much. There was a cap. I think it was like $1,465, like $1,465 a semester, which I was always just about there. I think I maybe had 1 or 2 semesters that it fully covered, but the other ones I had, you know, we had a leftover like $100, $200
yeah,
after.
The labs usually really, cost more. I mean,
yeah, if I had a math class or a science class, it made it a little bit higher because they were worth more credits.
But the vast majority was covered, which is amazing. Yeah.
And then the only thing we'd pay for is like textbooks and those extra fees.
Yep. So you did that for 2 years. How would you say your experience was at a community college?
It's okay. So it's something I think about a lot. Like I even still to this day, like especially because I've got friends that did the university and went to university right away and moved off, kind of like what Bryce is doing. And then now Bryce, like I really do go back and forth with like how I feel about it or, you know, how it goes. I honestly, I could definitely say I have no regrets. Like I think being someone that stayed home and going to community college allowed me to keep working and even though I still live at home with my parents, it's like, I feel like I have this like sense of like independence other than the fact that I live at home still, but like everything else I do is all me. Like I don't ever, you know, I build my own schedule. I build my own classes, like class schedule. You know, when I work, when I babysit, like all that stuff is all like me. And like, I feel like I kind of do my own thing other than the fact that I come home still to the house. Like, you know, I went to high school in. So I don't ever regret anything because I think if I chose a different route, I wouldn't be the person I am right now. The only difference, like I said, is not having moved out yet. I don't have that sense of independence or that sense of like that experience. But yeah, I never really regret anything. But I definitely do have the moments where I hear stories from my friends who moved out right away, like NAU or U of A, where they lived, you know, 2 hours away from home and like did the dorm experience, and now they live in apartments or did live in apartments with their roommates and stuff. I get that little sense of like, I missed out on that experience. I don't get to have those stories where, living in the dorms and all the silly stuff you do, that first year of college and stuff. So there's times where I feel like I miss out on that situation, but overall, like, I think what I did worked best for me. And I was in no, like, I didn't, like I said, I had no plan. I had no thought process of like, this is what I'm doing. Whereas I feel like Bryce decided early on. He decided on NEU his junior year. So his entire senior year, he's planning on NEU. He's making sure he has the grades for it, whatever. You guys are planning on it. You know it's going to happen. Whereas for me, I don't think I really talked about college very much up until the end of senior year. Because I had this idea that volleyball would take me. I was doing, my junior year, I was doing sports recruit, really trying to make a sports account and like having these college recognize me. But like I said, junior year was like the worst year for volleyball. And I didn't play very much. And so I didn't really get that opportunity. And it kind of killed my vibe. And so it's like I was kind of relying on volleyball to take me somewhere. But I had no actual plan of where I would be going or what I'd be doing.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I've told this story numerous times too. Like I didn't have plans to go to college at all. I didn't want to go to college. I was just going to go to a trade school or some, get certified, learn some kind of trade. I knew I wanted to work in computers, technology, and that was it. It wasn't until I did that field trip, kind of like you with Estrella Mountain.
Yeah.
You go to the field, you go on a field trip and as a senior, and you get to experience what they have to offer. You get to see some cool stuff, and it energizes you and kind of gives you a direction. Like, oh, okay, I could do this. And so I think that's important for kids as a parent, for those who might be parents listening or kids, like take field trips, reach out to the schools. All of them, every single school has some kind of, get a tour of the campus, get a tour of the facility.
Welcome events.
Yep. The welcome events. Exactly. We went to the transfer day for Sierra when she was going to ASU. That kind of gave us a quick overview of things. And again, it got us excited for her to go to ASU, even though it was a full semester. She still had a whole semester of college left. We were excited and looking forward to that ASU transition. And so, that's what happened. Same thing with Bryce. We went up to NAU, did the whole, walk around campus and get things figured out and get a tour and yep, this is 100% where he wants to go. And so, what would you say though, the fact that you did 2 years there, what were some of the things that you really enjoyed and loved about your experience at Estrella Mountain?
Let's see. I did I guess, you get this at the university too, but I think a little bit less of it, at least from what I've experienced with now my first semester picking classes for ASU, and then how Bryce's experience went with picking classes for NAU, or not that he really got to pick very much because it's freshman year, but the community college, other than that first semester, because that first semester, like I said, we went kind of late to pick my classes, so I was kind of just told this is what's left, take it, But for the most part, every semester after that, I pretty much got to build my own schedule completely. I had a guideline of these are classes that you need to graduate, but they never really had an order of you need to take these classes your second semester and these classes your third semester. It was required. As long as you get them all done at some point, you can kind of pick how you want to do it, except for, of course, the classes that had a prereq, I had to take English 101 to take English 102, that type of thing. But everything else, it was there wasn't really a real order, so that was kind of nice, being able to really build my own schedule, picking classes wise and schedule wise. There's a lot of flexibility at the community college. You're really able to, pick whatever class format's going to be best for you and your schedule, because especially they really want to make sure that anyone with any schedule, if you already have a full-time job, if you have kids, if you have family stuff to worry about, whatever, they want to make sure you get the education that you want and the time that you want. So for me, it was I did a mix of in-person classes, hybrid classes, online, which is the fully online where you just do your work in Canvas, which is where all our assignments are. And then I did do a couple of live online Zoom classes, which is kind of like this, where you're in a Zoom call, your teacher's talking, and you've got all the people in the call, and you can either speak up and ask questions or you type in the chat. So I did a little bit of everything. Whereas from what I've learned a little bit about ASU, it's more about you do one or the other. You mostly stick to all in person, or you're an online student, or you do I guess because this semester I do have one live online class, but because I'm an in-person student, it's still considered an in-person class versus a fully online student. But yeah, so that's one thing. Just the freedom of scheduling was really nice. I loved how kind of close and small the campus was. I think it was still very nice and had a lot of college amenities, but it still was very close feeling. You can get to every building within, I don't know, a 10-minute walk.
Yeah,
nice.
I was going to ask that. Obviously we'll get to ASU in a minute, but now that you started ASU, you've been on the campus off and on a few times now, a couple weeks. Like, can you feel the difference? I mean, you're kind of alluding to that just now, but can you feel the difference between the two campuses and the size and scope of the two?
Yes, not even just the size of the campus itself, because of course a university is going to be much huger, like much bigger than a community college, but the people, like the amount of people walking around ASU, like you just look anywhere and there's just groups and groups and groups of people walking every single direction. Possibly there's people on skateboards, people on scooters, like just everywhere. Whereas the community college, there was definitely people around, but it's like very distant. You see like two kids sitting at this table here. You see a person walking to the class over there. And the computer commons is a little bit busier because it's indoors, but like just with the university, it's like you just see people everywhere you go, like no matter what. So that just alone tells you how much bigger and more populated it is for sure.
Okay. Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of how I had visioned. Obviously, the only time that I went to Estrella was that one time with you to go talk to your advisor, I believe it was.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The school wasn't in session, so it was just dead.
It was
like
very quiet.
Yeah, it was very quiet. And then even when we went to ASU, it was like transfer day,
like winter break time.
Yeah, so there really wasn't anyone else on campus.
Coming home for Christmas and stuff. Yeah.
Right. So both times I've been on the campuses, and even when we went up there with NAU, it was a move-in day, right? Yeah. Same thing. The campus was dead. So I've got a chance to walk around these campuses when there's nothing going on and it's very quiet. And so, but again, for me, it's the sheer size and scope of just the land itself. Seeing the two, because I've been to GCC, I've been to PVC, PVC, which is where your mom went for like one or two semesters. And so like I've been to community colleges before. I've only been to the universities now here, once or twice. Obviously when we did volleyball, you went to ASU a couple times, but it was always that one part of the campus. And then walking to like go get coffee or walking to go get something to eat, like that's when you see the size of the scope of that. Mm-hmm. So now that you started ASU, you're getting ready to start week 3 this week. Let's make that transition. So you show up your first day at ASU, and like, are you overwhelmed? Do you feel a sense of like, holy crap, like this is so different, or were you already somewhat prepared for the difference between the two campuses?
Okay, so on Thursday, I feel like going into it, I definitely was a little bit like nervous, a little bit like I don't know what to expect. Like, because I did go and explore the campus a little bit like the week before with Mason and Bryce. We walked around, but again, same thing. It's like when it was dead, like there was no one around, very quiet. So even just the difference of the amount of people, like I said before. But yeah, kind of going into the day, I was definitely like kind of walking around, looking around, like I don't know anyone here, no one knows me, like seeing already big groups of people or girls, together, two groups of 2 or groups of however many, just like people are clearly already friends or have people they know here. And so just I definitely get that sense of like, I feel new. Like I feel like I just like I don't know. I'm not here before, so it's like I gotta kind of figure out my way of like where I go and what I do on my free time. But I definitely realized that there are plenty of other people who like sit alone for lunch, and then like I'm not an oddball. Like I'm not like, oh, she sits alone. Like there's definitely a lot of people that kind of do their own thing as well, have their headphones in and kind of keep to themselves. So yeah, I think I did have that sense of like a little bit of being a little nervous, being a little like, I don't know, I think like first impression type of thing, like trying to be like, approachable. But I know sometimes I maybe don't look approachable because I know I can look kind of like, I think I definitely do sometimes have a little bit of an RBF where maybe someone would not want to come up to me, but I don't know. I think you're muted too.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Sorry. Yeah. I wonder where you get that from.
Way, but from like mom.
Your mom, yeah. She says the same thing, like the gym. She's like, yeah, I know people don't think I'm the bitch at the gym. Like nobody wants to. I don't want anyone to talk to me. It's just
that might be how I look at school, but I don't know.
You're in your head. You're like thinking, or you're like you're doing your own thing.
Yeah, like it's not intentional, but I do know, and then I get this from you. If I'm in a bad mood, everyone will know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think a little bit of the nervous, and then I guess from the days after Tuesday was that transfer event I went to, and it was basically like an event where just for transfer students, a chance to get to know people, walk around. There's like booths and like free food and stuff like that. Even there, I was kind of feeling like there's so much going on. There's so many people that I don't know. They probably don't know each other because this is kind of a chance to meet people, but people are already in groups talking to each other. And I was kind of just walking around with my paper and I'm like looking around. I'm like, okay, where do I insert myself? Like kind of nervous. Like no one's approached me yet. So now I feel like I have to approach someone. Yeah.
So how did that feel like coming in as a transfer student versus a freshman? Like, did you feel a different vibe? Did you like, obviously you went to this event, which is great. I'm glad that they did this event, but like, I know you said a couple of times now, you're going into this as a junior and you don't like have a friend group that you're going in with. You don't necessarily know who's, yeah, I'm sure after 2 years, now year 3, there's people you went to high school with that are at ASU. Maybe you just haven't found them yet, or, don't know that they're there. Like, so talk through like that as a transfer student versus a incoming freshman.
Okay. So I think the difference there too is like, even if I know someone that went to ASU for high school, at this point I'm a junior. So it's like, you're in your major now. Like I'm taking only education classes. I'm basically in that education building all day long. So even if I know someone from high school and they're like an engineering major or a business major or whatever, and they also have a completely different class schedule than me, I'll probably never come across them the entire school day. I'll probably never see them.
That's true.
So that's a point there. It's just like, so that's part of it, being a transfer student as a junior. Like you're coming in from a different school, no one knows you. And now you're in your major, you're in these classes that there are definitely some transfer students in my class. I've already met some of them, which is cool. But you can definitely tell right away. You walk into these classes, you've got people who've already taken classes with this teacher. You've got people that have already taken classes in this room. You've got people that have already taken classes together, so they sit together. So it's like automatically you realize these are girls, mostly girls, because there's not very many men in education, honestly. I have maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 boys in all of my classes. So when I say girls, that's why. I just mean there's mostly girls in my class. You see these girls that probably have already taken classes all 2 semesters now. This is their 3rd semester taking them together. Like I said, they've already taken classes with this teacher, so they're already having conversations with the teacher, and like, so automatically you feel that, like a sense of like I said, I know nothing. I know nobody. I don't have any experience here. Where there's already people that, whether it's like with the people, or with the classes, or with the teacher, they've already got a little bit of experience here and there if they've been here since their freshman year. You've got people who are roommates their freshman year in dorms, that they already got that friendship going,
That makes sense.
So I think that's a big point there, is just being a transfer student, especially incoming junior. Like I said, you're going into these major like classes where people have already been taking all these classes together.
How are the classes different in terms of like size, depth, difficulty? I mean, I know it's only been a couple of days, but what are your initial thoughts on that?
So first off, with going to the community college, I never got that experience of those huge classrooms, those huge halls, lecture halls that you see in the movies. Bryce has a couple of those that we saw, where it's like rows of seats, and you've got 300 people in your class. Never have done that, and I never will at this point either, because again, being a junior now at the university, those are, I guess, more classes you take as a freshman and sophomore, maybe, like the general, like math, and bio, English, like the ones that everyone takes no matter your major. Whereas now I'm in education classes, and so at the community college, even for my English classes or my math classes, basically felt like a high school class. You've got 20 to 30 people in your class, very similar to high school. One teacher, one like little room with just groups of tables, groups of people, different tables. So that's kind of what I had my experience at the community college, and then now going to university, I still have those types of classrooms, because like I said, I'm at my point where it's all education classes, it's all education majors, so it's just very like, I think the most any of my classes ever have is like 30 people, if that. It's probably less than that. So that's like for size wise, like of the classes, that's like I said, there's not really a difference there just because of the situation. Let's see, what do you say as for people?
Just the size, the depth, and the difficulty. Like, again, I know I'm in a couple of days, so you haven't really had too many assignments yet, but right off the bat, as far as like knowing what the curriculum is or seeing what assignments you have, do you think that the classes are going to be more difficult because they're from a university?
I don't believe so. I don't think that would be a difference. Like I said, I don't know if it would make a difference as a freshman, the community college versus university, taking those huge classes where you got 300 people. Maybe that's what makes the difference, why people try to say that university classes are harder than community college, because I could see that, like in that sense of like the curriculums are harder. We're all doing the same thing. I'm getting a degree just like anybody else. I'm doing the same classes. They equal the same amount of credits to get where I need to be. But I could see maybe if you have, 100 to 300 people in your class, you're not getting that one-on-one attention from your teacher. Your teacher might not even know your name. So I could see how that could be a little bit different. But as for like curriculum and what I'm actually learning and doing, I don't think being at a community college versus university is like any different. I'm still doing the work. I'm still writing the essays, still struggling with the homework. Like it's the same stuff, I feel like. Same expectations too. Like at the community college, there's the teachers that did not take late assignments whatsoever. If you turn in late, it's a 0. If you do this, it's a 0. Like they have those expectations as well. And then as for like just the difference of classroom as well, this is my first time taking pretty much all in-person classes and not having a single like online class where it's like the 100% online, doing the work online. Like I said, I have one Zoom class like this semester, but that makes a difference too, because at the community college, I felt like I always had homework to do. I always had stuff to do. It's like every day I had an assignment due. It's like I have 2 due for this class this day, then I have another due this class on another day. Like I always had assignments to do at home all the time. Like when I'm babysitting, I was on my computer while they were doing their homework. I was doing homework too. So it's like you're doing everything online. Whereas this, it's a little bit to get used to of, I don't actually have a lot of homework to do at home. Most of it is like articles to read, a textbook to read, or videos to watch. And you don't actually have to turn anything in. They're just, it's like, they tell you to do it and hopefully you do it. There's no proof that you did it, but you're supposed to read these things and watch these videos and then come to class. And a lot of my classes are very discussion heavy. It's very discussion based. I think especially being an education major, because you do a lot of group work, you do a lot of professional like networking and group working.
Right.
So it's a lot more of like, you don't have a lot to turn in. I do for some classes for sure. Like I had something due yesterday. I have something due tomorrow morning, like stuff like that. But a lot of it is really just like, they're telling you to do it, hopefully you do it, and then you'll be able to talk about it in class. So I guess it's called the flipped classroom, where instead of getting lectured in class, like your teacher talks the whole time and you're getting lectured, taking notes in class, and then you have an assignment to do when you get home, it's more the opposite. You've got a lecture to read or watch at home. You've got work to do at home to take notes on at home, so that way when you come to class the next day, you're able to just talk. And it's more about participation. Like, well, I'll clearly know if you didn't do the reading because you didn't really get to talk about anything today. You weren't able to add to the discussion, type of thing.
More of participation.
Yeah.
Has there been any surprises that you weren't expecting making the transition from community college to university?
I don't know yet. I don't think so. I don't think I've really been too surprised by anything yet.
You were kind of prepared for everything that you've seen so far?
I think so.
Do you think that community college prepared you for the university level work? University level, like, do you think that you've had a pleasant transition so far?
Yeah, I don't think I've like struggled at all because of doing community college first. Like I said, I think I've did just the same amount of work and the same amount of stuff that anyone else would have. I guess the only thing I noticed with maybe 1 or 2 of my classes was like when a teacher would mention something that's specifically ASU related, like a course that you did your freshman year in this class at ASU, where it's like, okay, well, I wasn't here my freshman year. I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. There's been just like once or twice where like I've noticed a teacher say something specific about a specific course that is just through ASU, or a specific like website that you're supposed to complete a course on. I don't know, like something like that where it's like, oh, you guys know what I'm talking about. You would have done this like last semester and did this, this, and this. And I'm just like, I wasn't here. I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I guess that's just like, not really a surprise, but just like kind of one of those situations where it's like, I hope they realize that not everyone's been here. Even if it's not community college, if someone came from another university, if they went to any for the first 2 years, now they're at ASU, and it's like, same thing. Any you might have different courses or different programs that they use or different classes that they use to get here. That's kind of what I learned too when I decided to go to ASU from Australia. I had to tell my advisor, like, you don't have to, but it's helpful to tell your advisor where you plan on going. And then he makes sure, my advisor is a man, he makes sure that I stay on track to get whatever I need to be into the ASU program, because ASU requires certain classes to be in their program. So it's like one of the semesters, for example, I was going to take, I don't know, like a government class or something. And because it would have worked for my degree at Australia, it was great for my degree plan, but it wasn't equal to something that I needed from ASU. So he told me to switch to a different class to make sure I got that credit for ASU to continue my program at the university. So I don't know where I was going with that, but basically just the degree progression, how that's important. Like continuing on from the community college.
Yeah, the base I was asking is if you feel like the community college prepared you for the university level work, like, you know, the transition was smooth and you kind of like, you know, do you have, like you said, you haven't had any surprises. There wasn't anything you were unexpected. You know, and would you say that, are there any like new challenges that you have at this level that you, and again, I know like we jumped into this podcast kind of unexpectedly and it's only been a couple of weeks, but just based on what your initial, because you are up and running, you are off to the races, you've been through a full cycle of classes at this point. So, but any new challenges that you're facing so far that you didn't have at community college?
Challenges? I don't think so. Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, nothing. Again, nothing out of the gate.
Yeah.
Have your study habits changed?
I guess not really. It's hard to say because I think, like I said, it only has been 3 days, but like 3 class days. But I think I already twice now have had that realization of like, oh, I should check Canvas. Like school started. Like I don't think I've fully got back in that mindset of like, I might have something due today. I should probably check that. Like, whereas I feel like like I said, at Stray, I think because I had all those online classes where it's like I constantly had things to do, it's like I was checking that every single day. Whereas this makes me, like, having more in-person classes makes me think, oh, well, I have class tomorrow, we'll talk about it tomorrow, or like, oh, I'll figure out what to do tomorrow. It's like, no, I do have something to do today before class. I need to make sure I read this or turn in this assignment before class tomorrow. So I have just kind of had to like turn on that, like, first off, like it's school, like I need to get back in school mode. But second, realizing like it's not just like, it's just a different dynamic. Like I said, it's just like having all in-person classes is definitely a different feeling than having more, because I think at a certain point I had more online classes than in person. Like last semester at Estrella, I think I had one single class that was in person, it was my geology class, and then everything else was online. So it was like I kind of got used to that, like, well, I only go to this one class 2 days a week, but the rest of my school is online, so I was always on my computer all the time. Whereas this, it's like I had this mindset of like, well, I go to school 2 days a week and I have classes all day long, like not necessarily thinking I have a lot to do at home. But
you mentioned earlier about the amount of people difference between the two campuses. What's the social scene like compared to the two? Like, obviously less people at the community college, but what was the social scene? Was there still like groups of people in different areas doing things, like being social on the campus, or is the vibe just completely different?
Honestly, I think the community college was kind of cool. You would think it's like the opposite because it was so small and there's not as much people, not as much things going on. But honestly, I think because of it being so small, it was so much closer. Like you hear about things going on more often. Like I knew when there was, like, I honestly didn't get to attend very many because they were always on days that I wasn't on campus or I had other things going on, work, whatever. But like they had a lot of things on campus, like all the time. Every week they'd have like a little, they'd have like a taco truck come out and like free tacos for the first, like, you know, like first come first serve. Whenever they run out, they run out. But it was like they had things like that on campus all the time, like free food, free events, free games to play, like lawn games. They had like the club organization, like fairs, and like they even had like kind of similar to like a farmer's market type of thing, where, you know, students, if you own a business or if you have any things that you like to make, like you can, you know, bring them to school, and like they had like a whole setup, kind of like a farmer's market, where you could sell things or check things out, stuff like that. I feel like they had like things like that going on all the time. Like there's always something going on. There's always something to go to before or after class. I always knew about it too, because all my teachers would let me know about it. They always knew what was going on, or at least some of them. I felt like some teachers were a little bit more involved than others. But I just felt like there was, like, you always knew what was going on, and it felt like there was always something going on. Whereas at ASU so far, again, it's only been 3 days, but it's like a lot of things that I do find out about are through like random emails that get sent to me, and like unless I click on this and then click on the events page, oh, that's when I could see that's going on. I feel like there's a very easy chance of like people not knowing things are going on because like they just didn't see that email, or they just didn't like come across that flyer on the wall. Like I just felt like at Estrella was a lot more like everyone kind of knew what was going on, and there was always stuff happening to go to.
Probably because it was so small that you could keep track of it all. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I guess we kind of already had touched on this, but like, do you feel like you belong at ASU, like as a transfer student, or does it feel different from those who started as a freshman? Like, because again, you're coming in kind of solo, right? Like you're not coming in as an incoming freshman class with the rest of, you know, the class of 2023. I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to think of like, because Again, I almost feel like we should have waited till you had a semester under your belt, because I'm really curious, like how we'll have to do a follow-up episode at the end of the semester, because I'm really curious, like how things are different. It's only been 3 days, so a lot of the questions I wanted to ask you, it's like I almost need more time, but you had the transfer event. So obviously they welcome transfer. We had the transfer event that we went to back in December. You had the transfer day as a student. And so obviously they're trying to be inclusive and make sure that transfer students are welcome and find your tribe of other transfer students. Have you made friends from, or I wouldn't say friends. Friends is kind of but have you started to like interacting with your fellow students, fellow transfer students, fellow education students?
Yeah, so I actually, in like most of my classes, I have a lot of the same people. Like whether it's like, some don't have this class, some don't have this class, but like in a general sense, like there's a lot of the same people in every one of my classes that I like familiar faces. And a lot of them, like I'll have a group with this group, in one class, and I have a group with these people in this class. Sometimes they overlap. It's like, oh, we're in a group in 2 different classes together. Like stuff like that. So I've definitely already got a good handful of like phone numbers from people that I'm like in groups with, because like we have to get phone numbers to be able to talk about our projects in the future, whatever. So there's definitely a couple people like that I've already like, we know our names now, like at least, we get to talk in class, but I don't think it's gotten to the level of like, no one's, we don't really like, oh, what's your schedule like? Do you want to go get lunch after class? Like nothing like that yet, hoping eventually. But, it's more just like in person, in classes, I at least have people to like kind of talk to a little bit. And it's like people I kind of know already now in class. But yeah, and then I actually, at the football game on Saturday, totally random, totally coincidence that it happened, but it was really hard. It was my first football game as a student. So first time being in the student section, totally crazy, totally loud, and like a lot of people. And basically there's all the bleachers, first come first serve, and everyone kind of stands on the bleachers, and then it's like that's kind of also your spot that you sit whenever everyone sits. So it's like you kind of need a spot on a bleacher, but I was kind of squeezing in between 2 bleachers just on like the floor, so I didn't actually have my own spot. So I was kind of just squeezing in there, and then a girl comes up and she's kind of doing the same thing. She's just trying to squeeze in for a second to like get out of the way of the stairs. Then she kind of ends up asking me, she's like, hey, can I just stand here by you? And I was like, sure. I was like, I don't have a lot of room, but yeah, go ahead, like I don't mind. And eventually I kind of made a conversation with her. I was just like, so what year are you? And she says she's year 2, sophomore. And I was like, okay, I'm a junior. I was like, I'm a transfer student, so I'm like new here. This is my first, semester. It's my first football game here. Like, I'm just like, new to everything. And I was like, I'm a commuter too. Like, I don't live on campus. And I asked her if she lived on campus, and she said she lived off campus, but like in an apartment nearby. And anyway, I finally asked her like what her major is, and she goes education. And I was like, oh my gosh, me too. I was like, elementary, secondary, and she said elementary. I was like, me too. And then she asked what kind of like what grade I want to teach, and I said somewhere between kindergarten and 3rd grade. And she said she wanted to teach kindergarten. So it was like all these things back to back. And then finally I'm like, okay, what days are you on campus? Because I'm like, if she's on campus any of the days that I am, maybe we can get together. And she goes and says Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm like, oh my gosh, me too. So I'm like, like there's just all like every single thing she said, I was like, me too, like, oh my god, like this is easy. So other than the fact that she's not a junior, we pretty much have everything else like similar stuff. So, I got her, Snapchat and Instagram, and like started, talking to her a little bit. So that's really exciting. And like, I think we're going to get lunch here soon on one of the days we're at school. But even just that alone, like really made me excited, because it was like, it's a very natural and like easy way to make a friend. Cause I feel like that's such a thing now too. It's like at a certain age, it's like, you don't go up to someone and be like, you want to be friends? Like right. You just you hope it happens naturally. But I think it's really hard to make. Like, it's okay, you definitely can make acquaintances with people and like school friends, but like to make a new best friend, I feel like is so rare. To make a new friend that you actually like spend time with, like outside of school and do things with. I got really lucky, and like I have my 2, best friends that I've kept since high school, and like still see them very often, still talk to them and everything. And then I somehow, made another best friend through work, and like that was another one of those things where it just kind of happened, and I was like so excited about it, because I feel like it's not easy to make new friends. I feel like at this age, it's just kind of like, if it happens, but everyone kind of has their own friends and they stick to them kind of thing. But it's like, for me, it's like my 2 best friends, the closest people to me they don't go to my school. So it's like when I go to school, I'm lonely. I have no one to talk to. I have no friends, so it's like I want to make new friends. So
for sure. Yeah. How are you balancing your school, your work, and your personal life? How do you find the balance?
I don't even know. I keep it so busy. I feel like I'm so busy all the time, but I think that's how I like it. Like I feel like if I go too many days with doing nothing, like today's a day I have nothing going on, no work, no school, no babysitting, nothing. And it's nice. It's like, okay, it's a day I can lay in bed later if I wanted to. I could get some homework done. Like I could just chill. But if I have too many of these days in a row, I feel like bored. I feel
100%.
lazy.
I was going to say
like...
that. You like one day, but then more than one day, you're like, I need something to do.
Nice. But then it's like, okay, now I feel like I'm being like, I'm lazy or I'm useless. Like I'm like not doing anything important. So it's like, I got to get going. I got to do something. So I think what's worked for me, I pretty much did at the community college and I was able to continue doing it this year. Like I said, I have classes 2 days a week. That really works for me as a commuter, as someone that doesn't live on campus, whether it was Estrella, it's only like, 20, 30 minutes away, or now Tempe, that's like, anywhere between 45 to an hour plus minutes away. That works for me because I work. And so I need to be able to have a set availability where it's like, okay, these 2 days I'm just not available for work. That's just, I put in my availability. These are my school days, not available. So now that leaves the rest of the week open. But then there's also my third thing is babysitting. And I've been kind of consistent with that for the last, since I started college. I have one family that I babysit at least once or twice a week for. There was a few times there was 3 times a week, but that's pretty rare. It's normally once or twice. So I would give her, so once I have my school schedule made, I give her, the mom, I give her that and say, these are the 2 days I'm in school, so I'm available. So if it's Tuesdays and Thursdays this semester, I'm available for her Mondays and Wednesdays. If it was a semester I had classes Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm available for her Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that gave that. And then she's very, very good about giving me the dates, like almost like 2 months in advance. Like I already know my October dates and I've known them for the past month. Like she can get ahead of her work schedule which is really nice for both of us. So it's like one of those, like once I have my school schedule set, I can set my babysitting schedule, and then that leaves, okay, what's my availability for work? And then I put that in for work, and I set a reoccurring availability. These are the days I'm not available because of this, and then I'm available for BlackRock other days. And that kind of it works. It's what I feel like I've been doing. Other than, I just started, BlackRock was just this last year. Before that, it was my last job. But it works. It's like, once I know these days that are reoccurring, it's always, I have school these 2 days every single week, and I have babysitting this day every single week. I'm able to say the rest is for work. So it keeps me organized. It works.
Well, I think what's great for you as well is you're an organized person and you use your calendar. You're a big calendar person. And it took me a many years to get your mom on board with that. But once I got your mom, like we made a family calendar and we put down your volleyball games, we put Bryce's basketball games, we put down any things that like we had going on, like dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, trips. And everybody was aware of, even if you never looked at the calendar, you got a notification at least, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you were like, hey, I wonder what mom and dad are doing, or I wonder what so-and-so's doing, you could pull the calendar up and see. And now that you and Bryce are kind of like these young adults doing your own thing, you've continued to utilize the calendar, and you two will put things on the family calendar to like, hey, you made your own calendar for babysitting. Like, so we have access to your babysitting schedule. Like, that's amazing because it helps your mom when it comes to dinner. Like, you're going to be here for dinner.
I started it when I got my first job. My first job was at Harkins, and they had the app that I use my scheduling for. They had it built in where you can sync it to your calendar, which a lot of places do now. And I think that's what I started with. It was like my work schedule, so that way you guys knew when I worked, when I'd be home for dinner, when I'd be home for this or whatever. And that's what it started with, just way back then. And it's like ever since then, I think I've literally used this calendar. I use this calendar on my phone, like the Apple Calendar. I don't ever use a paper planner, but this Apple Calendar, I think I go on it every single day, multiple times a day. Because it's like if I'm talking about something next week with my friend, hey, next week on Saturday, are you free to do this? Let's do this. I go, look, okay, wait, Saturday, yep, I work at this time. Okay, we'll do this at this time. Oh, wait, what's happening next Friday? Let me look. I am literally on this thing like multiple times a day, and I've got all the different colors for each thing. Like I said, we've got the one color for our family one. That's the one that all of you guys are on. So it's like a family thing, whether I put my school, schedule on there, and then anything that we're going, like, oh, we're going to Mama and Papa's house this weekend. We're going this weekend, whatever. That's on there. And I have a separate color for work. And Bryce is on that one too when he was working too. And it's like, that's our work schedule. So you guys know when we work. And then for another color for my babysitting or dog sitting, like I just have it so like, and then like, if you look at my calendar, just all the little colorful dots, just everywhere.
Mine's the same way.
Color coded. It's all color coded. So yeah,
I think that helps. I think that's why it works so well for you.
I put everything on, even if it's like my own personal plans. I just put that one on my personal, so you guys don't have to see like when I'm getting my nails done or when I'm hanging out with a friend, because I will forget if I don't have it on there.
I'm the same way.
There's times where I forgot 2 weeks ago I made plans with this friend because it was like, 2 weeks from now she'll be home, she'll be back in town, we're going to do this day. If I don't put it on the calendar right then and she brings up that week, hey, remember we're doing this, I'm like, good thing nothing, I didn't plan anything else, because there's times like that where I'm like, I did not put on my calendar, I completely forgot. And I'm so glad I didn't like plan something else and overlapped it, because that's like the worst thing is when you overlap plans and you're like, well, now what?
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, keep it super, super organized. It definitely helps.
Live or die by the calendar. So as we land this plane, looking back, would you still choose the community college path first?
I think I would, because like I said, I feel like you guys have kind of ingrained this in your brains, like no need to regret, no need to look back or wish to go back in time, or like everything happens for a reason type of thing. And I feel like I said, although even especially moving Bryce up, that was a super emotional day for me. One, because I'm going to miss him and I'm like sad that he's not going to be home anymore. But part of it was a little bit of, I don't know, jealousy, or just like that feeling left out, feeling like he gets to do this and I didn't, or that feeling of like I'm the older one and I'm still living at home and he gets to go live on his own. Having a little bit of that feeling of like, dang, I'm missing, like, especially being in the dorm, because like even with my friend like Reagan, she went to NAU, that's why she was there with us that day. She knew all that stuff. She tell me stories all the time. She showed me videos and be like, oh yeah, look at us, we did this day in the dorm, whatever. And of course I always felt that, oh, that looks so fun, I never got to do that. But like I think actually being in the dorm room with Bryce and seeing like this is his room, he's gonna live here, he has all these new friends down the hall, like actually being there witnessing it, I had that feeling of like, dang, I never got to do this, and I never will, because I'm past that. I'm not a freshman anymore, I'm not gonna be in a dorm. So I did get a little bit of that feeling, but like I said, at the end of the day, I don't regret anything, because I feel like it would completely change everything about me. Like it would change my process, or like my progress of how I got to where I am now. I would have taken different classes. I would have maybe had different friends. I would have everything would have been different. And like I said, I think part of it's like a catch-22, because it's like in that situation, yes, you're moving out. You're not living at home anymore. You're living among peers. You're living among people your age. You're on your own. But at the same time, like Bryce, everything's kind of taken care of for him. He has a meal plan. He doesn't have to ever worry about buying food if he had to, although it's obviously paid for, but it's like free food for him in the moment. He doesn't have to worry about paying for food. He doesn't have to worry about really going to the store very often. He's got everything there for him. It's just, he's good to go. He just goes to classes, he comes back home. I know he's going to get a job, but he doesn't have a job right now. Just like that kind of, a lot of my friends that lived in the dorm didn't have jobs when they lived in the dorm. I think that's just kind of, again, because it's like you don't really need one. You can get by with just eating your meal plan, going to class, going back to your dorm, going to class, go back to your dorm. You don't really need a job unless you want it for your own extra money. So I had a lot of friends that did that too. So I feel like doing the route I did, even though yes, I still live in my home with my parents and I still live in my high school bedroom, like I feel like I have a very big sense of like independence, and I do a lot of things on my own, and I don't really ask a lot from you guys.
For sure.
Even though I live with you guys. I don't have to ask my parents for money to get food. I don't have to ask my parents, like, whereas I have a lot of friends that, because they lived in the dorm, didn't have a job, whether it's because they didn't want a job or their parents didn't let them have a job because they wanted to focus on school, whatever it was like, they have to ask their parents for money for any time they need money for things. And it's like, I feel like I've never had that like worry, or had that like, I pay for my own things, I make my own money, I organize my money, like I know what I pay for certain things, and like all that. I feel like other than the fact that I do still live at home and I haven't had that opportunity to live on my own yet, which I will soon, hopefully, I still have that sense of like independence. That's why I feel like I don't regret, or I wouldn't make the different choice, because I feel like I am the way I am today because of what I did.
Well, so. I also think too, the big difference between you and Bryce is you're still very family focused. You still want to be included in family activities and family events. And even when you have some free time, you try to squeeze in time with me, mom, papa, or with my mom, or your great grandma. You want to, be around for when your mom and I are doing something around the house, and whereas I think Bryce is more like, I'm cool, I'm chill, like I'll do my own thing, or I've got my plans with my friends. Like, so I think if you would have moved away your freshman year, you would have missed out on probably a lot of family stuff that now Bryce is going to miss out on, but he's not necessarily going to miss it. Whereas I think you would have missed it. And I think that's just a big difference between the two of you. What advice would you give other students considering starting at a community college before transferring?
I guess all I can say a lot of is just, at the end of the day, it's up to you. Don't let other people influence you, because people are going to say what they want to say. People are going to act like people are, whether it's like people you know or whether it's just people online, the general people you don't even know, just like online, you know, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, people are going to act like community college isn't real college. Community college isn't the same as university. You're not getting the same education. It's easier. You have it easier. You're going to hear a lot of that stuff. I think I double hear it as an education major and a community college goer. Like, educations already get their own crap given to them, plus also being community college, all that. But at the end of the day, it's like you're still getting a college degree. And so if the people that are going to want to either make fun of you or compare it or whatever, it's like at the end of the day, you're still getting that same degree that they are, but you're getting it for cheaper and you're not going to have debt and you're not going to have to worry about it. Especially if you get a situation like mine or a scholarship or financial aid that can cover most of it. Like, you're getting, you know, I got first full 2 years basically free. You know, there's those little payments we had here and there, but in the long run, I don't have any debt for my first 2 years of college. Now on these next 2 years is when I had to use financial aid, and like I might have a few loans here and there, but like it's like I saved a lot of money by going with the choice that I went with. And yes, like you're going to miss out on those opportunities. So at the end of the day, it's really just about your priorities or like what you care about a lot. Like Bryce clearly wanted that. He talked about it his entire senior year, how excited he was, and still to this day he loves it. And like he wanted that university experience. He wanted to live in the dorm. He wanted to live with his friends, all that stuff. Whereas, like I said, that wasn't really things I thought of when I thought of college. I thought of college as education. I thought of college as I want a college degree.
Right.
And I think that maybe is a difference there too.
100%.
In the two of us. I don't know. I think my senior year, like I said, I never had that idea of like, I want to go to this college for this reason. I want to live in this dorm because their dorms are awesome or this, whatever. I just had it as college is college. I want to go to school. I want to continue on with school. School's always, I think, in my opinion, like has come easy to me. I've always enjoyed school. It's never been an issue for me. I never dreaded it. I was always like, it's just part of your life. And so to me, it was never I never thought of taking a gap year. I never thought like you just keep going. And I think that's how I'm going to be even when I get my master's. I think unless it's one of those like, I want to start my career and start teaching and then go back. But I feel like why take a break when you could just keep pushing forward? Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of how I was too with ours. It was more about just the school part than the actual experience. So at the end of the day, I guess my point is just whatever your priorities are, go with what you want to do. Don't let other people influence you too much. People are going to have their opinions, whether they're negative or positive. And at the end of the day, it's going to be like what's going to be best for you and your situation, your financial situation, your home situation. If you need, if it's one of those, like you just need to get out from your home, you're like, you want to move out, and it's like, yeah, you want to go live in a dorm, go do that. But it's like, if you like, you don't mind living at home like me, I don't have no problem with being at home. I have no problem, hanging out with my parents, staying at home. Like there's no issue, you just make the drive and then it's a lot cheaper.
Save the money.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. What are you most excited about for the next couple of years at the university?
Most excited about?
Or maybe
honestly,
most looking forward to?
I am excited to at least get some of that college experience, like just the football game on Saturday, like actually being a part of a school that has such a high like spirit, high like football, like especially I guess because they did really, I don't actually care about football that much, but it more about like the experience and the fun of it and like being a college student that gets to like rep their team and like be excited for the games like that. I think also what's exciting for me is like I'm about to be 21 this year, so it's like I'm gonna be able to experience like, I think that's the part that I like, freshman year it's all about the frat parties and the sorority stuff and like the house parties and stuff, but it's like as a junior, senior, like you're going out to the bars, you get to experience like what people do like after games like that and stuff. It's like right now I'm kind of in that limbo of like, okay, I'm a junior, I'm not an underclassman, but I'm also not old enough to do any of the things that like a lot of upperclassmen do and go out to do and have fun and stuff. So I'm definitely excited to just kind of experience like what people do on a college campus, like especially once I do move out. Like I think I am really excited about that. Like I said, I have no problem living here, but just being able to, like, I see people walking around everywhere, and like for me it's like I got to get my car and I got to drive around Tempe and like the one-way roads and the construction and like just driving around is just kind of frustrating. And it's like I take the wrong turn, I'm like, dang, I'm going the wrong way now. It's like I'm still not used to being in Tempe. Like I don't know the streets, I don't know my way around. So the fact that I have to drive around instead of just looking up and walking and be like, oh, I need to go this way and go this way. Like I'm excited to be able to eventually live down there and be able to just walk everywhere, walk to class, walk to get food, walk back home. Like I'm really excited for that as well.
Awesome. Anything else you want to plug or talk about or bring up before we wrap things up?
I don't think so.
No, you're not really. You're not on the socials a whole lot these days. You post some photos every once in a while.
Yeah.
Are you keeping up with your TikTok at all?
I don't post on TikTok very much. I'm on TikTok all the time.
Well, yes, I know you're on TikTok, but you're not posting as much.
I'm very active in the sense of like what I like to repost. If you like to look at my repost, I repost stuff that I think is either hilarious, relatable, good stuff. I want you to see it. So, and I like, TikTok comments. I love looking at the comments, and I like to comment myself. But yeah, I don't post very often anymore. I don't know why. Just like I never find TikTok trends or like things to post like very much that I actually want to be a part of. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is. What kind of changed with that? Because yeah, I don't really post that often my public stuff anymore.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. This is a fun talk. Well, like I said, we'll do a follow-up episode after her first semester. I'll have Bryce on the podcast as well. We'll get his thoughts on his first semester away, and we'll do a first semester recap with the Sierra Comer.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, listening. The video version of this is on YouTube, YouTube channel, youtube.com/Clintus. The video is also available on Spotify video, and you can listen to the audio version of this anywhere you listen to podcasts: Apple, Google, Spotify, Slacker, all that good stuff. I do have a few more topics written down, the outlines I have to flesh out. So I don't know, maybe this will kick off the trend. I'll start getting back to it, doing it weekly again, but no promises. New vlogs every morning though at 8 a.m. Arizona time. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.